产品会变，但系统不变，这完全取决于供需关系。
When you watch the movies, it's always like one or two people sat in a room, usually in some kind of hoodie in a dark corner on a computer. But the reality is it's big business.
I've never met the people that I work for. Yeah, the principals, they stay 2 or 3 layers up. But like most other industries, if you prove yourself trustworthy and valuable, then you can move up. This is my livelihood.
So you don't think you're harming anyone?
No.
We were in Panama for COP19. We learned that an individual who'd been travelling to that very meeting had actually been arrested and an indictment unsealed relating to alleged offences that he'd been involved in between Cambodia and Thailand.
Sam shared an investigative report with us. We are able to see some typical transaction pattern or behavior within the account. There are common names that may indicate this is a shell company, and they were using as an intermediary to disguise the true origin of funds.
With that kind of money involved, you're going to have extremely organised, extremely large and potentially quite violent organised criminal groups who are benefiting from this.
We identified a single smuggler's account, and that's how we get to a Hong Kong pass shop that sent funds to the smuggler.
When we talk about wildlife trafficking, it is an industrial scale that is not sustainable for the planet. The macaques in this case were being stripped from the wild, chucked in a box, probably overcrowded with a number of them in a tiny box. Many of those species will die en route to wherever it's going.
It's really important to recognise that behind each of those incidents there are individuals making serious amounts of money, and that money is then being directed to other sorts of criminalities.
Those who engage in criminal business have the same business problems as those who engage in legitimate business. It's very much our job to bring them out of the shadows and into the light.
We found corruption, fraudulent documentation in Indonesia, Togo, and Nicaragua. We identified a Peruvian. She was convicted for money laundering and illegal wildlife trading.
But with money laundering, there's also corruption, there's bribery. The criminal networks really don't care what's being moved in the box. These are networks that often own a route or own some sort of commodity. It's just a pure money-driven trade.
The one thing that really strikes me about professional money launderers, they're completely willing to trade on the misery of others. And it doesn't matter the harm it causes, whether it's harm to wildlife, whether it's harm to people. There's really no conscience, and they'll move money for anyone, for any purpose, as long as they get paid for it. We see common patterns. We see companies that are fake, companies that are not actually doing any real business oftentimes, but yet able to make themselves appear legitimate.
You might use a few different businesses for your transfers. You'll have a name on an account that looks legitimate. It might be one letter off of a real business name, and we mirror transfers.
Combating illegal wildlife trafficking it's a complicated issue. It involves so many different sectors. We need the conservation groups to share the information. We need the corporate sectors like HSBC to listen to that information, to act on the information, report suspicious activity, disrupt what they can. And we need law enforcement at the tip of the spear and making arrests.
The best part of doing this job is when we have the opportunity to protect our customers. Criminals are constantly evolving and getting better at what they do. But so are we.